Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. How many times have you said, "I'll stop doing this from tomorrow"? And then when tomorrow came, you said the same thing again. That's the problem with bad habits. They don't knock on your door like a thief. They slowly move into your life like an uninvited guest. At first, they seem harmless, even comforting. You say, "It's okay. I deserve a little break." But before you know it, that little break becomes a lifestyle. I've seen so many talented, smart people lose years, not because they lacked skills or intelligence, but because they couldn't break their bad habits. Habits like procrastination, wasting time, negative thinking, sleeping late, eating junk, or constantly comparing themselves to others. And the most dangerous thing about bad habits, they don't feel bad in the beginning. They feel nice. That's the trap. It's like sugar, sweet today, sickness tomorrow. So today, I will tell you 5 ways to break your bad habits. Now let's talk about the first way to break bad habits before they break you. 1. Face the habit. Don't hide from it. You can't fix what you keep pretending doesn't exist. Most people don't break bad habits because they never admit they have them. They defend them. They make them look logical. I'm not lazy. I'm just waiting for the right time. I'm not addicted to my phone. I'm just staying updated. I'm not negative. I'm just realistic. No, you're not. You're lying to yourself. And the truth is, until you face the problem, you can't change it. Let me tell you something funny. One of my friends once said, "I can quit scrolling anytime I want." So I told him, "Okay, then stop for 1 day." He said, "Today is not a good day." I said, "Exactly." Every day is not a good day when you're addicted. The first way to break a bad habit is to call it by its name. Don't give it fancy titles. If you procrastinate, say it. If you overeat, admit it. If you gossip, waste time, or keep blaming others, own it. Because the moment you admit your weakness, you take its power away. See, awareness is like switching on a light in a dark room. The moment you see what's wrong, you can finally start cleaning it. But as long as you keep the lights off, you'll keep tripping over the same mess. So, here's what you do tonight. Grab a notebook and write down 3 bad habits that you know are silently breaking you. Be honest, even if it hurts, because honesty is the first medicine for change. Once you face your bad habits, you'll realize something powerful. They only had power because you are hiding them. When you expose them to light, they lose their control. Remember, you can't fight an invisible enemy. So, stop pretending everything's fine. Admit it, face it, and promise yourself this: I will no longer let what's comfortable destroy what's possible. That's how real transformation begins. Not with motivation, but with truth. Now, once you've faced your habits, the next step is learning how to rewire them, to replace what's killing your growth with something that fuels it. And that's where the second way comes in. Ladies' way 2. Replace your worst habits with powerful life-changing actions. And gentlemen, once you've faced your bad habits and you've stopped lying to yourself about them, the next step begins. And let me tell you, this is where most people mess up. Because the moment you admit your bad habit, your brain immediately says, "Okay, I'll just stop doing it." That's like saying, "I'll stop eating sugar from tomorrow." And then the next morning, you're standing in front of the fridge staring at a slice of cake like it's your soulmate. See, here's the truth. You can't just stop a bad habit. You have to replace it. That's the second way to break bad habits before they break you. Replace the bad habit with a better one, not with boredom. Because if you remove something you enjoy and replace it with nothing, your brain will start a protest. You'll say, "I'm quitting Netflix to be more productive." And 10 minutes later, you're watching YouTube videos on how to be more productive. I had a friend who said, "I'm quitting my phone addiction." I said, "Great. What will you do instead?" He said, "Nothing." 2 hours later, he was scrolling through his fridge like it was Instagram, opening and closing the door, hoping something new appeared. That's the problem. Most people fight bad habits with empty space. You can't fight habit with nothingness. You have to give your mind a new toy, a new pattern, something better to feed on. If you waste time scrolling, replace that habit with something that still gives you dopamine. Maybe short walks, music, journaling, reading 10 minutes of something inspiring, or watching videos that actually build your mindset, not just your entertainment appetite. If you eat junk every night, don't just say, "I'll stop eating." Replace it with something that feels good and fuels you, like fruit, smoothie, or even homemade snacks. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. You can't delete a bad habit. You must outgrow it. You must make it boring compared to your new lifestyle. Think of it like this. If your bad habit is the wrong person in your life, your new habit is the upgrade. You don't just leave someone toxic and stay lonely forever. You level up. You find peace, purpose, or a better focus that keeps you busy enough not to miss what was breaking you. Let me share something funny but true. When you stop giving time to bad habits, you suddenly realize how long the day actually is. You'll be like, wait, it's only 2 p.m. What do people even do all day? That's when you realize how much time your habits were stealing from you. Quietly, hour by hour, excuse by excuse. So, the trick is simple. Every time you remove a bad habit, have a replacement ready. Stop saying no to something. Start saying yes to something better. Because if you don't give your mind a new direction, it will go back to the old one. Here's a small exercise you can do. Take one bad habit you've written down and next to it, write a replacement habit. For example, instead of scrolling at night, read 10 pages of a book. Instead of junk food, one healthy snack. Instead of complaining, writing down one thing you're grateful for. Small swaps build big results. That's how habits change, not overnight, but choice by choice. And slowly, your brain will start liking the new you more than the old you. Because the new you will feel better, think clearer, and sleep more peacefully. Remember, bad habits don't die. They get replaced. And once your new habits start giving you more joy than your old ones, the battle is over. Now that you know how to replace the poison with purpose, let's talk about the third way. How to train your environment so your bad habits never find their way back into your life. Ladies and gentlemen, you. Way 3. Hack your environment to make success. Automatic faced your bad habits. You've started replacing them. But now it's time to talk about something that silently decides whether you'll win or lose your environment. Let's be honest, your environment is like Wi-Fi. If it's weak, no matter how good your phone is, you can't connect to anything. Most people fail to break bad habits, not because they lack motivation, but because their surroundings are perfectly designed for those habits to survive. That's the third way to break bad habits before they break you. Change your environment. Make it impossible for your bad habits to breathe. Let me give you a simple example. You can't stop binge watching shows if Netflix keeps autoplaying like it's desperate for your attention. Turn off autoplay. Suddenly your brain gets 5 seconds to ask, should I really watch another one? That pause is your power. You can't stop scrolling if your phone is always in your hand. Put it in another room or give it to someone in your family and say, don't give it back until I finish this task. You'll be shocked how productive you become when your phone is held hostage. Or take this. I met a young guy who said, I keep eating junk food every night. I can't stop. I said, show me your kitchen. He had chips, sodas, cookies. It looked like a mini supermarket. I told him, of course you can't stop. You've built a fast food branch inside your house. A week later, he texted me. I threw it all away and replaced it with fruit and yogurt. 2 weeks later, he lost 3 kilos. You see, sometimes your progress is waiting for you in your trash bin. Another example? A girl I met wanted to focus on studying, but said her friends kept distracting her. I told her then stopped studying with people who talk more than they read. She laughed, but the next month she found a library new study group, and her grades went up because energy is contagious. If your friends are lazy, you'll catch laziness. If they're disciplined, you'll catch focus. Your environment isn't just your room. It's also your people, your routine, your digital space. If you follow 10 negative pages on social media, don't be surprised if you start thinking negatively. Unfollow what drains you, follow what fuels you. Even small tweaks help. Want to work out? Put your gym shoes where you can see them. Want to read more? Keep a book on your pillow, not your phone. Want to wake up early? Schedule your alarm to play your favorite hype song instead of that heart attack sound effect. You don't have to rely on willpower if your environment pushes you forward automatically. Here's a small test. Walk around your room and ask, is this place designed for the person I want to become? If not, start changing it one corner at a time. Because the truth is, you don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your environment. So, build an environment that makes your goals feel natural, where success feels easy and bad habits feel awkward. Once your surroundings start working for you instead of against you, you'll stop fighting yourself every day. You'll start feeling like progress is happening by default. And once that happens, you're ready for the next step. Building a mindset that keeps you strong, even when life tries to pull you back. Ladies' Way 4. Rewire your mindset to beat temptation. Every time, and gentlemen, you can fix your habits. You can fix your environment. But if you don't fix your mindset, your old habits will always find a way back. Because let's be honest, bad habits don't just live in your hands or your phone, they live in your head. They're built out of your thoughts, your excuses, and that little voice that keeps whispering, "It's okay. You deserve a break." That's how most people fall back. They win the battle outside, but lose the one inside. So, the fourth way to break bad habits before they break you is this. Reprogram your mind. Think like the person you want to become, not the person you're trying to escape. Here's the truth. Every action starts with a thought. You can't change your life if you keep thinking like the old you. If your mind says, "I'm just not consistent," then guess what? You'll keep proving yourself right. You need to flip the narrative. Start speaking like the future you say. "I'm the kind of person who finishes what I start." Say, "I'm disciplined." Even if you don't fully believe it yet, your brain listens to repetition more than reality. You ever notice how we're experts at negative self-talk? We fail one small thing and immediately go, "Ooh, I'm useless." But when we do something good, we say, "Ah, it's nothing." Stop it. You're training your brain to celebrate failure and ignore progress. I remember meeting a young man who said, "I've tried to quit gaming 100 times, but I always fail." I told him, "That's because you keep saying you're trying to quit. Try is a weak word. Decide." He looked confused. I said, "When you decide, you don't leave space for negotiation." The next day, he uninstalled everything, gave his console to his cousin, and started learning coding. 6 months later, he built his first small app. I asked him how he did it. He said, "I stopped trying to quit and started becoming someone new." That's mindset. And you don't have to be extreme. Start small. Every time your mind says, "Just one more time," reply, "No, not this time." Every time it says, "I'll start tomorrow," reply, "Tomorrow starts today." Train your brain like a muscle. The more you challenge it, the stronger it gets. Here's a trick. Visualize yourself 1 year from now, the best version of you. Now ask, what habits does that person have? How do they think? What do they do every day? And then start living like that person now. Because the only difference between you and your future self is the habits you practice today. Also remember this, Your brain loves patterns. If you've been doing something for years, it won't let go easily. So don't get angry when you slip. Get aware. Laugh at it. Say, "Nice try, old me, but not today." Humor breaks the emotional link between guilt and habit. See, guilt keeps bad habits alive. You make a mistake, you feel bad, and then you do the same thing again to feel better. It's a loop. The way out is not perfection. It's awareness and recovery. When you fall, don't restart. Just continue. Don't waste energy punishing yourself. Save it for your next action. You must upgrade your software before expecting better results. Once your mindset starts shifting, something amazing happens. Your bad habits begin to look small. You stop craving them because you've started craving something bigger. Growth. And when that happens, there's just one final step left. How to make your new habits last forever, even when motivation disappears and life gets messy again. Ladies and gentlemen, Way 5. Build unstoppable systems that crush old habits. Forever you've faced your bad habits, replaced them, reshaped your environment, and reprogrammed your mind. But now comes the hardest part, staying consistent when life gets messy. Because, let's be honest, anyone can be disciplined when they're motivated, but when you're tired, when things don't go as planned, when stress hits, that's when bad habits sneak back in. Wearing a smile that says, "Miss me." That's why the fifth and final way to break bad habits before they break you is this: build systems, not moods. You see, motivation is like your favorite song. It pumps you up, but it eventually ends. What keeps you going isn't the mood. It's the system you build when you don't feel like it. Let me give you an example. There's a guy I know who wanted to start running every morning. He bought new shoes, new earbuds, posted his day 1 picture on Instagram. Then the next morning it rained. Day 2 became day never. He said, "I'll start again when the weather is better." I said, "Bro, if your goals depend on the weather, you'll never make it to summer." So, I told him to build a system. Every day at 7 a.m., he'd just wear his running shoes and step outside. Even if he didn't run, he had to show up. Within a week, his brain learned 7 a.m. is action time. After a month, he was running before his alarm even rang. That's what systems do. They train your habits to move automatically. Here's the secret. Don't rely on feelings, rely on rules. Because feelings change every hour, but rules guide you every day. Your system could be simple: a fixed bedtime and wake-up time, a daily no-phone zone for an hour, Sunday planning for the whole week, rewarding yourself after finishing a task, even a small one. Discipline isn't about being strict. It's about being smart enough to make success easy and failure hard. Let's be real. There will be days you'll fall off track, days when you'll say, "I don't feel like doing anything." That's okay. But remember, missing one day is a mistake. Missing 2 is a habit. So, bounce back quickly. Don't wait for the perfect restart. Just start again badly, slowly, awkwardly. But start. I once met a woman who said, "I always lose momentum after 1 week." I asked why. She said, "I stop when it stops being exciting." I told her, "Then stop chasing excitement. Chase consistency." The boring part is where the magic happens, because success isn't built in moments of excitement. It's built in those quiet, unglamorous moments when no one is watching and you still show up. And here's something funny but true. Your habits don't care about your mood, but your future self does. So, when you're tempted to go back to your old ways, ask yourself, am I feeding my comfort or my future? The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to be persistent. You'll slip, you'll mess up, but as long as you keep coming back, you're winning. So, build routines that work for you, even on bad days. Surround yourself with reminders of why you started. Because one day, you'll look back and realize the person who used to be controlled by bad habits is gone. you'll feel lighter, freer, more in charge. And that's the moment you'll understand. You didn't just break your bad habits, you built a new life. So before your bad habits break you, start breaking them. One honest thought, one better choice, one consistent day at a time. And remember, your habits create your life quietly, but the results will speak loudly. Make sure they tell the story you want the world to hear. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.